Hi guys, so in this video we're going to be questioning whether Britain can be described as a true liberal democracy. Liberal democracy is a type of democracy where there's an emphasis on the protection of individual rights and liberties, where the rule of law is strictly adhered to and where government is limited by enforceable constitutional laws. So as you can see here, we've got a number of different points of a liberal democracy. What we want to understand is, with regard to these particular points, whether Britain lives up to these criteria, but looking at each feature in turn. We'll be doing that in class. So we want to question whether the government is accountable to the people, whether there are fair and free elections, whether there is a peaceful transition from one government to another government, where losing parties accept that the other party has actually won, that information is freely available to the citizenry, the rights and liberties of citizens are taken into account and protected, the powers of government are controlled and limited either by law or by elected institutions or both, and a variety of beliefs, opinions, cultures, lifestyles, whether they're tolerated, provided they do not threaten the security and peace of the state. Others may vary these criteria, but for our purposes they can act as a useful guide. So what we want to understand, once we've kind of understood whether Britain is a liberal democracy, we also want to find out whether there's this democratic deficit. Deficit meaning that there's a sort of reduction in the amount of democracy that there is. And there are three key points to this. The first one being that there is a problem of falling political participation. We've been looking at that beforehand in terms of the number of people going out to vote and also membership of political parties. We've then got the persistence of undemocratic institutions within the system of government, and also the increased centralisation of power that is insufficiently accountable within government. Despite these issues, there are particular proposals to try and rectify these issues. So if you take a look at this table, what we've got are a number of different proposals that have been put forward to try and get past this democratic deficit. For example, votes at 16 and what effect that might have. But then we need to question whether these proposed democratic renewal measures will actually be undertaken and whether they would actually improve democracy in the UK. So take a little bit of time, just have a look through these, pause the video, and then you'll be able to ask any questions in the lesson. And lastly, just to finish off looking at the idea of democracy and political participation, I've got a couple of exam questions for you. These would be 25 mark questions in the exam. They haven't come up before, so it's worth giving them a go, of about 800 words. So you want to have a balanced argument. What are the main arguments in favour of using referendums? You want to have the arguments in favour of, but then you want to be criticising them throughout as well. And then when you're looking at how representative the UK political system is, you're arguing in what ways it is representative through democracy, and then ways in which it's perhaps more direct in terms of the democratic ways of doing things in the UK system. Okay, thank you very much. Next topic we'll be looking at is going to be political parties.